Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you haven't subscribed, kindly remember to subscribe. I am here to answer a question very fast about the concept of thicknessing. We did a video that had takeoff for substructure works with thicknessing. Now there are several people who did not really understand what really thicknessing entails, and now I am here to shed some light. If you can see from the diagram here, this diagram, this one is the thicknessing part of the equation that we had. If you note clearly what happens with thicknessing, here where there is below this double line, here it's where we have the hard core. So normally the hard core was at this level if you draw a straight line, but thicknessing, what happens to thicknessing is that concrete is added to below the wall so that the wall can have some more supports. So what happens is the hard core is reduced, because you see all this one, it's hard core that has been reduced from this level. It has reduced from this previous level here above, which was a straight line. So hard core is usually reduced. Then the Maram blinding for this one, if I'm to shade with blue, the Maram blinding, let me highlight it with blue. The Maram blinding comes down this way. It takes that shape. So the Maram blinding will increase in length with some minimum. So the Maram blinding, initially it was to take this level, which is in yellow. Initially it was to take that level in yellow, but now it has to take the level in blue. So it will increase to some length. Then when you're taking the length for the Maram blinding, you have to take these hypotenuse of the triangles. These ones, the hypotenuse of these triangles, you add to this length here below. Then you deduct from all these length. Let me shade it in blue. This one was the original one, the straight line. So we shall take the one that is coming inside this way using the hypotenuse, straight hypotenuse. We deduct from the straight one. To know what? Because we shall take the length of the rectangle like this. So where it has some thicknessing, so we say from here up to here, and it takes a hypotenuse, a straight line, then a hypotenuse. We shall take the total length, then we shall deduct from here up to here of the straight one. Now we shall deduct the one in yellow, then we shall add the one that is coming down, hypotenuse, straight, hypotenuse. I hope it's clear now. So the Maram blinding, if you're told that it is sloping, you're taking that length that is sloping. The hard core will reduce with this volume here, the one that I'm shading in yellow, the one that is occupied by the concrete together with the Maram. The hard core will reduce by that. The concrete will increase by that the hard core has reduced by. You see the concrete where it has increased. So that one, it has increased. So I will show you two examples that we did in our previous videos. They are the ones that I will play for you. Then from there you can be able to grasp that concept, to understand how thicknessing really works. So check out the two videos they are playing so that you can be able to understand. In case of any question, just write them in the comment section. I'll be checking on this so that I hope everyone shall understand totally about the concept of thicknessing, because most neck questions, especially for those who are doing neck exams, will come with this concept of thicknessing, where one wall, because it's not a major wall, it is strengthened by adding the concrete. So we shall reduce the hard core. If we reduce the hard core, that volume of hard core that we have reduced, we shall add to the volume of concrete. The Maram, if it is sloping, you have to take that length as it slopes, okay? And also the DPM. The DPM also takes the shape of the Maram. Then the concrete, at least for concrete, because concrete, you see that it is coming like this, and like this. To find the volume of concrete and hard core, it is not much, because what you do, and because it's a straight line here, and you have the dimensions from here to here. This is a triangle, and this one is a rectangle, and there is a triangle here. So what the simplest concept you do, you combine these triangles, this triangle here and this triangle here. It will make a complete square. So you shall just add here. So if we add that triangle here, we shall ignore this other triangle. So we shall be left with one rectangle which I'll shade in purple. So the one that will measure in volume will be from there. This one now, the new one. If you combine the two triangles, they will make a square. Then you add to the other rectangle. So the dimensions that you'll measure, you'll take this dimension from here up to here. Then the dimension from here up to here. You'll calculate it as a rectangle. Kindly check out in these examples, and you will understand what really I mean. So now we shall take off the hardcore. If you can see on the diagram, between the external walls there is hardcore. Hardcore is always placed inside the rooms where there are no walls. Inside the rooms is where we do the hardcore. So there are three ways that you can do the hardcore. You can take the length and the width of this rectangle, take the length and width of this rectangle, and also take the length and width of this rectangle, then add the thicknessing, of which it can bring you so many errors. So the easiest way to do this, we shall take the total area inside the walls, the external walls, then we shall deduct the area for the void together with the walls, then we shall deduct the place with the thicknessing. If you note well that in the thicknessing part we reduce the hardcore, then we increase the concrete. I hope that is very clear. So here is in the hardcore, you know, hardcore could be up to here, but now it was reduced. Then we increase the concrete. So that is the tricky part about thicknessing. So when we are finding the area for the hardcore, we shall take the internal dimensions. For the length, it shall be, we said that the external is 6,000 plus 3,500 plus 4,000. So the total is 13,500. We deduct 400 for this wall and this wall. So it shall be 13.10. Alright, the width, the total width, external width is 9,000. We deduct this wall and this wall, we get 8.6. Then the depth of the hardcore. If you look at here, we can see the depth of hardcore is 400 millimeters. So that is 0.4. Now that we have the total area on the inside, we need to deduct for the void. In the place of the void, we have that 500 between the external walls. We need to add the walls, because the walls, we don't place hardcore beneath the walls. So that 500 plus 200 plus 200 is 3.9. Then the width we have here, the internal, it's from here to here. So here we have 200 plus 3,000 minus 200, because we were taking the internal dimensions. So it shall remain 3 meters. Then the depth of the hardcore is 0.4 on the void that we are deducting. Now there is this thickness part. How do we calculate the area of the hardcore, the volume of the hardcore that was reduced? Here I will use my pen. We will always extend. We always extend a straight line like this. Then we extend a straight line like this. You see, this triangle here is the same as this triangle over here, because the hypotenuse must be equal, then the base is 200, then the height is the same. So if we take the volume of this part here, we have two triangles. If you can see, this is the triangle that is existing, and this is the imaginary triangle which was replaced by this other triangle here. So it forms a square. The base of the square is 200 here and 200 here. Let me show you using my pointer. Here it's 200, then here it's 200. So if we are able to find the area of this triangle, the rectangle, okay, square, the area of this square, we multiply by the length of the wall. it's the same as we add from here, draw a straight line this way up to here. Here, if we find the area of this full rectangle from here this way, it's the same as this one from here. We go like this, hypotenuse this way. I hope it is clear. I think I'll do another video to show you how that one is calculated. Alright, so we shall take the length of this wall. The length of this wall is 5.2 because it's equal to this wall. Then we shall multiply by the width of this rectangle. 200 plus 350, that is 550. So it's 5.50. Then we shall multiply by the height of this rectangle, which is 0.23. That is the thickness part. So that one has been replaced by concrete. So we shall deduct it from the hardcore. Thicknessing is a bit tricky, but I hope it is well understood that what replaces the hardcore is the concrete. So if we find that volume of concrete that has replaced the hardcore, we should deduct it from the hardcore. So we shall take this volume, then we deduct these two volumes. This one is for the void and this one is for the thickness part. Alright, so after the hardcore we shall go to, so now we shall excavate for the Maram blinding. The Maram blinding is usually if you look at the section, it goes above the wall. So it is, you'll check the external dimensions of the wall. Then it goes down on the thickness part. So you need to note this, that when it gets here, the Maram was to come straight this way. And we have already measured the external dimensions. So we have already measured this straight line. But the Maram blinding is coming this way. So we shall take this length, this one plus this one plus this one, then we deduct this one. Alright, so this is the length, the external length and the external width. Then 301.04 is hypotenuse for the triangle, and 301.04 hypotenuse for this triangle. That's why we are multiplying by 2. Then we add this 350 down here. Then we shall subtract this total length here, which is 200 plus 350 plus 200, which is 750. So the total length shall be 13,702.08. That's why we write here 13.70. The width shall remain 9.0. Then we shall deduct for the detail for void. So it is this 3500 and this one is 3000. I hope that is clear. Then we shall go. Now we shall take off the DPM. The DPM is just like the Maram blinding because it will come this way. So the same dimensions for the length, for the width. Then we deduct detail for the length and width of the void. Alright. So we shall go to vibrated reinforced concrete in 100 millimeters thick layer, oversight concrete. So the oversight concrete is, we measure the external dimensions of the length and the width. The length is 13.5, the width is 9. And the same area we shall have the BRC mesh, this one that you can see here, number 66 to BS 4449, including cutting, bedding, tying wire and distance block. They are all assumed to be counted in. Then when we measure the area of the concrete, remember concrete is measured in terms of area. There is this concrete that has been thicknessed here. So this one we shall calculate the area of this concrete. Then this depth we shall write it in the description column. Alright, so because it's measured in area. So how do we calculate the area? Here it's where we extend. You see, this is a triangle and this is a triangle. If you combine the two triangles, they'll make a square. And what if you just combine from here, you just draw a straight line this way, form a rectangle. This rectangle here will represent the area of all the concrete from here. So the base of the rectangle shall be 350 plus 200. Then the height is 225. Then we shall multiply by the length of the wall. So we shall start with the length of the wall from here. up to here, 5.2. all right, then we multiply by the thickness of this rectangle, 350 plus 200, 5500, so it's 5.5. Then you say add ditto into 25 millimeters thicknessing because of this height here. All right, then we shall deduct the concrete for the void. Here we will not have any concrete, we shall deduct it. So the length is 3.5 and the width is 3 meters. Okay, I hope you have got the concept from the first example. Now we are heading to the second example. Kindly check out how we measure the hard core, the Maram blinding together with the concrete from the next example. All right, now we shall go to hard core. We shall take off the area that hard core shall be applied. So hard core is always placed inside the walls. For example, this is the wall, this is the inside the wall. So you know, we don't place hard core where we have the foundation walls on top of them. So we only do hard core inside the external walls, and in case we have walls passing inside the building, we only do it inside the rooms. So now that I have highlighted where we shall do the hard core, and remember that at first we are assuming this is a full rectangle. So let me just show the full rectangle that we are measuring. The full rectangle is 9.60 because this is 10 meters. This is 10 meters on the outside, the external dimensions. We subtract the walls, 200, 200 on both sides, we get 9.60. For the width, it was 7,000. 7,000 was this total width. Then we deduct 200, 200, we get 6.6 for the width. Then the thickness, the depth of the hard core is 350 millimeters hard core, which is 0.35. Now, that one was for the rectangle. We need to deduct this part, this rectangle, for the void. So I shall highlight it in yellow. This area needs to be deducted, or this area. So now that we have the internal dimensions of the hard core, to deduct this yellow part, because this yellow part shall not have the hard core, we shall take the dimensions of the yellow part. The dimensions of the yellow part shall be, we shall take this 200 plus 5,800, 6,000. Then for the width, 2,800 plus 200, 3,000. So it shall be 6,000, 3,000. Then the depth of 0.35. That one is for the void. Then we have this thicknessing that has happened below the wall. For this wall passing here in between this wall, I'm shading it in red. This wall, we need to we are thicknessing the wall with concrete below here, so it shall reduce the volume of hard core and add the volume of concrete. So what is the volume of this concrete that has replaced the hard core? Now that this one is a triangle, and we have two triangles, this side and this other side. If we combine these triangles, they can form a rectangle. So now we have concrete from which is here to here to here. All this is concrete. All this is concrete. Then we have triangles on both sides. If we combine the triangles, they will form a rectangle from here. Let me show you using highlight. This is the use a highlighter. This is the rectangle that will be formed. The yellow rectangle will be formed by two triangles. The two triangles will be measuring, the base is 150, the base is 150 here. The depth is 200 minus 50, 150. So you can see it's a 150 by 150. So it can form a square here, 150 by 150, made of two triangles. So if we are finding the volume of this hard coal that has been reduced, we shall take 3.60. 3.60 is the depth, is the length of the wall from the inside to inside. This 3.60. Then the width of that trench for that thicknessing is 0.35, because you shall take this 200 plus 150. 200 plus 150, we shall get 0.35. 0.35. Then let me use a red pen which is a bit more visible. The yellow one, you can see 0.35 is the width of the trench. 3.6 is the length of that wall. Then the thicknessing, the depth of the thicknessing is 0.15, which we have taken 200 minus 50. Okay, so next we shall go to taking of Maram blinding. The Maram blinding shall be on top of the hard coal, but you can see the Maram blinding, unlike the hard coal which we are measuring the volume, the Maram blinding we are measuring the area. So on section XX, where we have this triangular, you can see the length, how it's going. We need to take the total length of that one. Then the thickness of the Maram blinding will remain to be 50 millimeters. So to find the area, we need to take we shall take the internal dimensions. We shall take the internal dimensions of the walls, external walls. Of course, we shall take it as a rectangle, because it's a rectangle with a recess. It's the internal. Then we shall subtract all this area. All this area we will not be having the Maram blinding, because the Maram blinding is on the hard coal. Then, but for this length here, we shall take the total length here on section XX. So that's what we are calculating here. You can see it's called hypotenuse of this triangle. We shall take the height is 150, the base will be 150. 150 squared plus 150 squared, square root is to 12.13. So the length is 10,000, the width is 7,000. The length will increase. Okay, so the hypotenuse here is 212 and the other side 212. So 212 times 2 is 14.26. Then we add the base 200. Then because we have been able to find the total length, we shall deduct 150 thickness of the wall that was already here, 150, so that we can it is compensated by the hypotenuse, base hypotenuse. So we shall get 10,464.26, and the width shall remain to be 7,000. Then because 10,000 and 7,000, so the 7,000 were the external dimensions, we need to deduct the walls. We deduct the walls on both sides, which is 400 and 400. So the length for the Maram shall be 10,064.26, and for the width shall be 6,600. So that's why we have 10.06 and 6.60. Then we deduct 6 meters by 3 meters, because from here it's 200 plus 5,800, 60 meters. Then we take 2,800 plus 203 meters. Okay, so we shall go to treat surface of hard coal with approved insecticides. The surface of the hard coal that we shall treat is on top of the Maram blinding. So the same dimensions that were on the Maram blinding will be on the treating with approved insecticides. The DPM shall be applied on top of the Maram blinding, but it shall include the walls. So the dimensions for the Maram blinding, you add 0.4, and also for the wind the same. Then you deduct 6 meters by 3 meters for the void. Okay, so now we shall go to vibrated reinforced concrete for the oversight concrete. The oversight concrete is 100 millimeters thick. So this one is usually measured in square meters. To measure it, we shall take the external dimensions of the rectangle, which is 10 meters and 7 meters, because of course we concrete even on top of the walls, unlike the hard core. The concrete usually goes even above the wall. If you can look at the section, it will be able to show you that the concrete is even on top of the foundation wall. So we shall take the dimensions of the external wall, which is 10,000 and 7,000. Then we shall deduct the void. The void now shall not include the walls. Then also the external dimensions for the concrete is 10,000 and 7,000. This one, 10,000, 7,000. Then we deduct the void, which is 6 meters and 3 meters. 6 meters is 5,800 plus 200. 3 meters is 200 plus 2,800. So then we shall add the thicknessing. When you are adding thicknessing, you see the volume of the concrete, the thickness is 150, so it's measured in square meters. So because it's 150 millimeters square meters. So what is the thickness of the trench? It is 3.5, because we say that this concrete shall form as a rectangle here. This one is 200, we shall add 150, we shall form this way. So this triangle here is there. Then this one, which is here, it is a replacement of this other triangle on this other side. The one that this one is this one. Okay, so it will form a rectangle, and the base of that rectangle is 0.35, 200 plus 150. Then the depth will be 150. Then the length of that nini shall be below the wall, and the wall is 3.6. So the length of the wall 3.6. Then the width of the thicknessing, which is 0.35. So you remember, concrete, oversight concrete, any concrete that is 150 millimeters thick, 100 millimeters thick, is measured in square meters. So that's why we only add it. So the rates are given like this. You write the 150 millimeters on the description column and 100 millimeters on the description column. Now finally, right, so thanks a lot for watching that video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. We are going to look at them and also to address them as needed. So if you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe, and see you in the next video.